Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Exploring Nonviolent Communication. Today, we're diving into Chapter 5 of Marshall Rosenberg's book, Nonviolent Communication, A Language of Life. This chapter is titled Taking Responsibility for Our Feelings. Alex, this chapter really emphasizes the importance of recognizing our own role in our emotional experiences. What were your initial thoughts?
I found this chapter incredibly enlightening. Rosenberg makes it clear that our feelings are not caused by other people, but by how we interpret their actions. He provides 4 options for receiving negative messages, which is very practical. What stood out to you?
The 4 options are really insightful. When someone says something negative to us, we can either blame ourselves, blame the other person, sense our own feelings and needs, or sense the other person's feelings and needs. This framework helps us see beyond the immediate emotional reaction and consider the underlying needs. For example, instead of just getting angry when someone criticizes us, we can reflect on what need of ours is unmet.
That's a crucial point. Rosenberg emphasizes that our feelings arise from our own needs and expectations, not directly from other people's actions. This shift in perspective can transform our interactions. He uses a powerful example when someone says, "You're the most self-centered person I've ever met." Instead of taking it personally or lashing out, we can focus on our own feelings, like feeling hurt because we need recognition of our efforts to be considerate.
Exactly. It's about understanding that what others say and do might be the stimulus, but not the cause of our feelings. Rosenberg also introduces the concept of emotional slavery, obnoxiousness, and emotional liberation. These stages describe how we often feel overly responsible for others' feelings, then swing to the other extreme before finally finding a balanced, compassionate approach.
The stages are fascinating. In the emotional slavery stage, we feel responsible for others' feelings, and this can be overwhelming. Then, in the obnoxious stage, we reject that responsibility completely, which can come off as harsh. Finally, emotional liberation is where we acknowledge our own needs while being empathetic to others. It's a journey toward emotional maturity.
Yes, and Rosenberg's personal story about his daughter Marla beautifully illustrates this. When she started to express her needs openly, it was a huge step toward emotional liberation for her. She went from being the perfect little girl who suppressed her needs to someone who could assert herself, even if it meant risking displeasure from others. It's a powerful reminder of how important it is to communicate our needs honestly.
That story was quite moving. It shows that emotional liberation doesn't mean we stop caring about others. It means we communicate in a way that respects both our needs and the needs of others. Rosenberg also talks about how to handle negative messages. He suggests responding with empathy, either for ourselves or for the other person. This approach helps to diffuse tension and foster understanding.
Absolutely. When we receive a negative message, instead of reacting defensively, we can choose to empathize. For instance, if someone says, "You never listen to me," instead of feeling blamed, we could respond, "Are you feeling frustrated because you need more understanding?" This helps shift the focus from blame to connection.
That's a great example. It's all about taking responsibility for our feelings and recognizing that our emotional responses are tied to our unmet needs. By expressing these needs clearly, we can improve our communication and relationships. Rosenberg's exercises in this chapter are also very practical. They help us practice identifying and expressing our needs.
Yes, those exercises are really helpful. For instance, when we feel irritated because someone didn't call us on our birthday, instead of saying, "You made me feel bad," we could say, "I felt disappointed when you didn't call because I was hoping to talk with you." This approach focuses on our feelings and needs without blaming the other person.
Exactly. And by doing so, we create an opportunity for the other person to respond compassionately. To wrap up our discussion on Chapter 5, the key takeaway is that taking responsibility for our feelings involves recognizing our own needs and communicating them clearly. This practice fosters empathy and deeper connections in our relationships.
Well said, Alex. I hope our listeners find these insights helpful and start practicing them in their own lives. Thank you all for joining us today. Stay tuned for our next episode, where we'll explore Chapter 6 of Rosenberg's Nonviolent Communication, A Language of Life. Until next time, keep communicating with compassion.
Thanks, everyone. See you next time.